Hey everyone at BTF, it's Louis from Climbing Physio. It's a nice sunny morning in Norwich and I've got the morning off work, so I had the chance to record another movement and mobility video for you. Hopefully you found the first one helpful. This one's slightly shorter but hopefully better quality. I've recorded it out in the garden, but the neighbours were also out, so I decided to do the sound indoors. Excuse the slow motion intro, it's just so I could just give a bit of an introduction to the video. So yeah, we'll get started with a warm-up. Hope you enjoy. Okay, we're just going to start with some jogging on the spot, just as a pulse raiser. Yeah, I hope the music in the background is okay. These aren't brand new shoes. Okay, now continue to jog on the spot, but every few steps we're going to stop and balance on one foot. So we're alternating sides, so it might be every third step or every fifth step, and just pause, catch your balance, and then continue. Notice the slight wobble in the knee, that's fine. You want to try and control it through the knee, through the hip, through the ankle. And then just to mix it up a bit, as you land, you're going to kick the other leg out to the side. This is just going to challenge the balance a little bit more. Try and keep the body relatively upright if you can, and try and keep the knee in line with the toes as you land for good control. Okay, last one. And then we'll go into some squats to get the quads and the glutes firing. So just down as far as you feel comfortable, and then pushing the hips forwards and the knees back as you stand up. You can get the arms involved as well if you want to. Okay, and then next up, we're going to kick 1 foot forwards and reach forwards towards the toes with both hands. And we're just alternating sides. Again, just take it as far as you feel comfortable. We're just looking for a gentle stretch and a pull through the hamstrings, but don't really force it. And you're just reaching towards the toes. Cool, and then we'll get the shoulders warmed up with some reaches. So reaching nice and high with the left and then the right side. Really reach through the shoulder, alternating sides, straight up and then straight forwards, a little bit of rotation through the body, and then uppercuts. And I've gone through those quite quickly, but with all the exercises or drills in this video, if you want to spend a bit longer doing any of them, just pause the video and carry on for a little bit longer. Okay, and now as you can see in the video, we've gone on to another back and hamstring mobility drill, just reaching down towards the toes. And after a few of those, you can gently reach down towards the toes, drop into a squat position, reaching up with both hands as high as you can for shoulder mobility, and then stand up and roll the arms back. Excuse the belly. So slowly down towards the toes for a hamstring stretch. Drop into the squat, open up the groin, reach out with the hands, and then roll the arms back and repeat. And then in this part, I'm just gently taking my hands around to the left side and the right side while we're down in that hamstring stretch. Okay, on the next one, we're going to go down towards the toes, and then we're going to do a big circle with the arms all the way up and over, so that we're getting a full body stretch all the way through the spine. So we're getting the side flexion through the spine, a little bit through the shoulders, so serratus anterior and the traps, but also getting that hamstring and lower back stretch as well. So just doing a few each way, so a few round clockwise, a few anti-clockwise, reaching down as far as you feel comfortable, and then up as high as you can. Okay, we've moved on to some lunges, so lunging forwards with the left foot first. Keep the knee in line with the toes, and while you're down, we're just rotating round to the left and the right. step back, and we're alternating the sides. So a rotation to each side on each lunge forwards. Again, if you have any problems with the knees, just take it nice and steady. Just go as far as you feel comfortable. And then lots of you have done this one before, going down into a squat. If you can, tuck the elbows just inside the knees, that's great. And then we're taking the knee away from the elbow to open up the groin. And stand up and shake out if you need to. Again, just take it as far as you feel comfortable. Sorry that I'm going through these quite quickly, but like I said, if you want to pause and do any of these for a bit longer, or go through them all and then repeat the video again, that's up to you. Okay, so the next mobility drill, which includes a bit of balance as well, is to stand on one leg. A soft bend in the knee, which will come over the toes as you reach with the other leg. First of all in front, and then out to the side, then straight back, and then flag it under, or curtsy, whatever you want to call it. So we call these star excursions. Really good for control over the weight-bearing leg, to keep the knee in line with the toes, and that control around the pelvis and the glutes, but also challenging balance as well, as you might see in my occasional wobble. I think in the video I've done about 3 rounds on each side. As many of you are aware, I'm terrible at saying how many reps and sets we're doing. Normally I wait until you all look a bit tired and then we move on, but in the video I'm probably going through them a bit too quick, so yeah, feel free to do more if you want to. Okay, if you've got a mat or something that you can lie down onto your front, that would be great. So we're going to lie down facing the floor, hands on the head, and then we're just going to extend, lifting the head and the chin away from the mat at the same time that we're lifting the legs as well, so the toes away from the floor, really squeezing through the glute muscles and the lower back muscles, pinching the shoulder blades together as we come up. Good, just nice and slow, holding it for a couple of seconds at the top. For some of you, if you have any problems with your lower back, or your back just doesn't like going into that sort of extended position, just take this one really easy, or leave it out if you want to. You can see here I'm just dropping my bottom back onto my heels to stretch it out if you need to. And then the next one, I've cut half of me off I think, but we're still lying on the front, lifting the hands up in a sort of Y shape, rotating them all the way down until the hands are on the bottom, lower down, and then lift up again, come all the way back. The thumbs will wrap underneath on the way up, and then lowering the hands down to the floor for a second, and then repeat. It's a really good one for the shoulders and those rotator cuff muscles. Okay, so after you've done a few of those, you're going to rock the bottom back over the heels, stretch forwards with the hands, so we're stretching out the lower back. And then, as we've done in the Saturday morning sessions, walk your hands around to the left or the right. It's just a nice way of getting a bit of side flexion through the back and a bit of a stretch under the shoulders and the lats as well. And then when you're ready, turn over on your mat or wherever you are, onto your back. Bend the knees, and then we're just going to gently let the knees roll out to the left and then the right. So really nice lumbar spine mobility, that rotation through the lower back. And pop your hands down either side of you for a bit of support if you need to. Again, this is just a mobility drill, it shouldn't feel like hard work. And just make sure you've done equal numbers side to side. Just nice and slowly. I think probably done maybe 5 on each side. And then we're going to go into the tabletop position, so our shins are nice and flat. Hips, knees and ankles will be about 90 degrees. Arms straight up towards the ceiling, And then we're doing upper abdominal crunches. So reaching in a straight line up towards the ceiling. Head and the shoulders will come up off the floor, but the legs should stay where they are. See if you can do about 15 to 20 repetitions, or until you're starting to feel the upper abdominals really working. It's a great one for core strength and control. Once you've done the number of reps that you want to do, you're going to go back to that starting tabletop position, and then keeping the lower back pressed into the mat, we're extending out with opposite arm and leg and alternating sides as you go. Again, if you try and do about 10 on each side, so 15 to 20 reps in total if you can. If at any point it starts to feel a bit niggly in your lower back, just stop and hug the knees in towards the chest for a stretch. And then once you've done the number of reps that you want to do for that, we're going to do 5 lots of 5 seconds, pushing the knees into the hands as hard as you can. So really pushing the knees into hands. Hold it, that contraction, for about 5 seconds, and then stretch out for another sort of 4 or 5 seconds by hugging the knees into the chest. If you feel like you can do more, by all means pause and do a few more reps. This is a really good one for core strength. You should feel the abdominal muscles start to get a bit more tired now. And then the next one is similar to the mobility drill that we did for the lower back, only this one's a bit more challenging on the core. So we're starting in that tabletop position for the legs. Pop the arms straight out either side of you for a bit of stability, and then just gently keep the knees together but roll them from left to right. Just go as far as you feel comfortable and that you've still got control. You need to be able to bring it back up. Once you've finished those, give the knees a hug in towards the chest for a quick stretch. And then we're going to move on to a few glute exercises. So single leg bridges, one leg's extended out but the knees are still in line. And then you're thrusting hips up towards the ceiling or the sky. Really try and sort of snap your hips forwards. Really activate the glutes. And I think I did about 20 reps on each side, but obviously you can do more or less if you want to. Okay, once you've done about 15-20 reps on each side, we're going to move on to a hamstring exercise. So you're going to go up into a double leg bridge, and from the top position you're then going to walk your feet slowly out as far as you feel comfortable, and then slowly back in. And this is a eccentric exercise for the hamstrings. So the further out you go, the longer the hamstrings, and that's an effective exercise for injury prevention. Try and keep the hips as high as you can, so you're still using a bit of glutes. And you're just slowly walking them out, pause, and then back in, back to that sort of top bridge position. So see if you can do 5 or 6 slow reps of that. And then, once you've done that, give the knees another hug in towards the chest for a stretch. And you don't have to stand up at this point. I'm pretty sure in the video I was standing up just to check that the iPad was still recording, which it was. So yeah, hug the knees into the chest for a break. And then when you're ready, we're gonna lie onto one side for a glute exercise, a clam exercise, which I think you've all done before. So feet, knees, hips, shoulders all stacked directly one on top of the other. And then you're doing the clam exercise. First of all, I did it with my feet on the floor, and then as a progression, you can try raising the feet up, and then continue with that climb exercise. And see if you can do similar to some of the other exercises, about 15 to 20 reps on each side, but then go straight into the straight leg hip abduction. Again, I did the first 5 or 6 with the bottom leg down, but as a progression you can try and raise the bottom leg just off the floor, and just try and make sure that there's a little bit of a gap between the bottom side of your tummy where it meets the mat, just trying to engage the core so that you're not pushing down. So there should be either a bit of a gap or at least less pressure where your sort of tummy is touching the mat. And then we'll do the same on the other side, so roll over onto the other side, and again 15 to 20 reps with the clam, and then the same with the straight leg hip abduction, with or without the progressions, depending how you find it. I'm really sorry if anyone's offended by the music. I hope it's okay. Okay, after that we're going to lie onto one side, and this is more of a mobility drill than an exercise. It's a really nice way of just gently mobilizing or rotating the sort of upper back, the thoracic spine. So you're going to lie on one side with your knee up but resting on the floor, and then you're going to reach forwards with the top arm and then bring it back and open it out. So you're opening up the chest and you're also rotating through that upper back for a nice mobility drill. If you're really tight in your glutes, you might feel a slight stretch, but this is really more for the upper back. So just really slow and controlled, maybe 5 or 6 times on each side. And then exactly the same on the other side. So roll over whenever you're ready. After that, we'll move on to cat stretches. So I don't think these will need any explanation, but basically we're on hands and knees. You want to extend and then flex your spine. So you're drawing your tummy away from the mat and then down towards the mat. Not quite sure what I was doing in the video there. I think I was just doing a bit of a side wiggle for an extra stretch. So yeah, feel free to add any extra little stretches or movements during your cat stretches. It's just a really nice way of mobilizing the spine all the way from the lumbar spine or the lower back up through the thoracic spine and even a bit through the neck as well. And then once you've done a few of those, drop your bottom back to your heels for a stretch again in your lower back. And then, like we've done in lots of the Saturday morning sessions, we'll walk the hands round slowly to one side, but keep your head between your arms and try and keep your bottom down. And then the same to the other side. This is a great way to stretch the lats or those muscles under your shoulder blades, and also side flex the spine to get a bit of a stretch on the muscles either side of the spine, which are called your paraspinal muscles. And then come up into a slightly higher kneeling position, and while you're here you can do a nice stretch for the forearms, and then turn over so you're sitting, and we can do a groin stretch or a stretch for the adductor muscles, basically the muscles on the inside of your leg coming up into your hip or your groin and all the way down to the knee. So soles of the shoes or your feet touching, hold your ankles or your feet, and you can use your elbows to push your knees down towards the mat if you want to. And to stretch out the back again and a little bit in the hamstrings and the glutes, just try and stretch forwards and down. So you're taking your head sort of down towards the heels, but again, just go as far as you feel comfortable. I'm not particularly flexible in this position, so some of you will get a lot further, others might not get as far, that's fine. Just go as far as you're feeling a stretch. And then the next one that we'll do is a pigeon stretch, which is really good for your glutes, particularly those lower glute muscles, your glute med or piriformis muscle. So you're turning one foot in, the other leg's extended straight back, and then just come down into this stretch nice and slowly, and as far as you're feeling that stretch through the hip. If you want to take it further, you can reach your hands forwards, or you could just come down onto the elbows. Again, it's up to you. There's different progressions depending how flexible you are and how far you want to take the stretch. And then slowly come out of it by walking your back leg forwards again. And then we'll swap sides and do exactly the same on the other side. Same with the exercises really. If you feel that this is an area that you're particularly tight, or if I'm just going through the video too quickly, just pause and hold the stretch for longer. I guess about 20 to 30 seconds would be ideal, and you could repeat it a few times if you wanted to. Nice. Okay, so when you're ready to come up, you can either just simply stand up, or if you want to finish with a final stretch, you can come into a downward dog position, and basically just gently pumping one heel and then the other and slowly walking forwards, and then stand up from there. It's just a nice way of finishing with a calf and hamstring stretch. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for joining in with the virtual movement and mobility session. Sorry they're not quite weekly. I'm not the best with technology, as you might have guessed, so I'm still playing around with the best way to try and record them. Sorry if this one was quite rushed and short. It's just the last one took forever to send. It was just a huge file, so I was trying to keep this one shorter. So like I said in the video a few times, you can either go through it again, or you might just need to pause it and spend a bit longer on each of the mobility drills or exercises, especially if you think you'll find them useful. So yeah, if you've got any feedback or if you've got any comments, questions, etc., please feel free to send them to me. The easiest way is probably email. It's info@climbingphysio.com, and we'll keep an eye on that and try and help you if we can. Still, unfortunately, we're unable to do any face-to-face physio appointments at the moment, but we can try and help just via email or possibly even FaceTime. I think Scott's still doing occasional FaceTime videos, if you think that would be helpful. But yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're enjoying your virtual BTF sessions. And yeah, if you've got any comments at all, please ping them over, and we'll try and help as best we can. Yeah, stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you in the not too distant future. And in the meantime, I'll try and record a couple more of these videos. So if you've got any suggestions or any requests, just please ping them over. Yeah, stay safe, take care, and see you soon. Bye.